Night calls. It was a stormy night in mid-December, and Ellie noticed her phone lighting up, disrupting the monotonous hum of rain against the window. The screen flashed an unknown number, and driven by curiosity, she answered. Barely audible over the crack of thunder, her voice met a raspy whisper urging her to look outside. Puzzled and unnerved, Ellie cautiously approached the living room window, the line still open to the enigmatic caller. The street was deserted, only occasionally illuminated by flickers of lightning. She peered through the rain-soaked glass, yet discerned nothing out of the ordinary. Her impatience grew as she sought answers from the unknown caller, whose menacing tone sent shivers down her spine. She then noticed a figure across the street, obscured by the downpour, yet unmistakably staring in her direction. A sudden bolt of lightning briefly revealed the figure's grotesque, expressionless mask. Ellie recoiled in horror, her hands trembling as the phone almost slipped from her grip. The voice on the other end hissed a chilling message and then let out a sinister laugh before the line went dead. Ellie watched, frozen, as the figure raised a hand in a slow, deliberate wave before vanishing into the stormy night. The following morning, despite her insistence and a thorough investigation, the police found no evidence of any presence outside her home, no signs of disturbance, and no footprints in the wet ground. Ellie was left with a profound unease, haunted by the face she had seen and tormented by the mystery of the midnight caller. The fear lingered, a constant reminder of the night when someone, or something, had watched her from the darkness. Weeks passed with no further incidents, but the unease never left Ellie. Each night, as darkness fell, the memory of the masked figure and the chilling voice haunted her. She began to avoid the living room, opting instead to sleep in a small guest room at the back of the house, where she felt somewhat safer. One evening, as winter deepened, Ellie's solitude was disrupted by a soft thud against her living room window. Her heart leaped to her throat. With hesitant steps, she moved toward the sound, every fiber of her being screaming to turn back. The living room was cold, darker than usual, with only the soft glow of the streetlight filtering through fogged glass. Ellie approached the window, her breath fogging up the pane. Another thud. This time, she was close enough to see. A figure, shadowed and indistinct, was pressing something against the glass. It wasn't the same masked visage as before, but the fear was just as paralyzing. The object left at the window was a photograph, wet from the rain, sticking slightly to the glass. With trembling hands, Ellie opened the window and took the photograph. The photograph was old, weathered by time, showing a younger version of herself smiling beside a man whose face was scribbled out with a dark marker. As she turned the photo over, she found a note written in a hurried scrawl. "Remember why he left." The implication of the message was clear and menacing. By the time Ellie looked up, the figure had disappeared, swallowed by the dark and dense fog. The photo and note reignited long-buried family tensions and fears. Ellie knew she couldn't ignore this warning. Her brother's disappearance had been a dark cloud over her life. Now, it seemed linked to her current torment. Desperate for answers, Ellie began to dig through old family records, uncovering secrets that many would prefer stay hidden. Her search led her to connections with shady characters and illicit dealings her brother had been involved in. It appeared that his disappearance was no accident, and the dangers he had escaped were now knocking on her door. As the truth unraveled, Ellie realized that the midnight calls and the disturbing visitations were not just random acts of terror. They were orchestrated warnings. Someone was watching over her, using fear to communicate a message she had long ignored. Her own life was in peril from the shadows her brother had left behind. Determined to confront these threats rather than flee from them, Ellie set up security measures around her home and sought the help of a private investigator. Together, they traced the web of her brother's past, leading to a confrontation with a figure from the underworld who had been keeping tabs on Ellie as a way to control her brother's debts. One stormy night, not unlike the first, it all came to a head. Ellie faced her tormentor, an encounter filled with revelations and threats. But with her carefully laid plans and newfound resolve, Ellie turned the tables. The night ended with her tormentor detained and the police finally involved. Ghost Station. In the remote corners of Vermont, where wild maples tower and frost carves through the air with sharp clarity, the ruins of WKVL radio station stood as a desolate relic of a bygone era. Abandoned since the mid-1980s, the station had decayed into a mere skeleton, its mystery deepened by tales of a night DJ who vanished during a live broadcast, leaving behind nothing but eerie silence and local superstition. The surrounding community, ever wary, kept their distance, allowing nature to reclaim the once vibrant hub of music and late-night chatter. Mia and Alex, urban explorers drawn to the spectral and forgotten, chose the derelict WKVL as the focus for their Halloween special. Their YouTube channel, a digital archive of haunting explorations, thrived on the thrill of the abandoned and the allure of online fame. As twilight bowled into the sky, casting shadows in hues of bruised purple and fiery orange, they breached the station's threshold. Inside, the air hung thick with the dust of decades, the ground littered with relics of broadcasts past, tapes, vinyl records, and ancient equipment that whispered of lively nights now silenced. With a mixture of awe and apprehension, they set up their cameras, the red recording lights slicing through the gloom. Amidst the decay, Alex coaxed a spark of life from the ancient control board, its lights flickering weakly, reviving the ghost of the station. Maya stood tentatively at the microphone, her invocation breaking the silence, seemingly stirring the dormant spirits of the station. As Alex tuned the frequencies, a whisper cut through the static, a barely audible warning that melded with the air, a chill that whispered threats of too late and leave now. Abruptly, a screech of feedback pierced the moment, the station reacting with flickering lights and a sudden drop in temperature that gnawed at their bones. Instinctively, they seized their equipment and escaped, the station groaning ominously behind them, as if mourning or forewarning. They didn't look back until the safety of their car enveloped them, the station's dark form receding into the night. The footage of their frantic departure spread like wildfire, igniting a storm of social media activity. Viewers split into camps of skeptics and believers, with many reveling simply in the spine-chilling thrill. While the video catapulted Mia and Alex to a fleeting digital fame, the experience left them with a lingering dread. Soon after their visit, WKVL was demolished, the site cleared as though erasing the haunted echoes of its past. But the quiet that followed was not empty. The whispers lingered, a subtle yet persistent reminder in the static of their recordings. Maya and Alex, forever changed by the encounter, stepped back from their explorations, recognizing some mysteries, especially those whispered over the airwaves, are too profound to disturb. If you crave more chills and thrilling tales, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join us for more spine-tingling adventures, where the shadows speak and mysteries lurk just beyond the edge of reality. Stay spooky.